we're all doing really well today on this Wednesday, the 3rd of September. Kids have gone back to school. It is the international window, so it is no game day for a little while. I don't back. I need to check that. Of course I do. Let me know how you're doing in the chat. Just want to say, really good show last night. The evening shows on here just get better and better and better. Absolutely amazing chats over the last couple of evenings, and of course the last couple of days. Scott, legend of the chat and future member of the team, I'm hoping for. Obviously depends on how big we get. I really want this channel to be, all about the chat, the subscribers. I want this to be one of the first of its kind that, we build it together, and we do things together. Get into the chat. This is one of the best chats on this platform. Just absolutely amazing what I try to do here. I try to be logical. I try to be balanced. I'll let you have your opinion. Already Scott said, you think Onana will leave to go to Saudi? I think it's a possibility. We can talk about, tired again, yawning. We can talk about that as well. I wanted to go through some of the stats as well of Onana, Martinez, Lemens as well, just to give us a flavour. So I really wanted to focus on the goalkeeper today. Also a little bit on Danny Welbeck. Unbelievably, there are reports coming out today, whether you believe them or not, that a January bid is going to go in. We're going to pay for Danny Welbeck. Apparently, I don't know how much that will be, but apparently that is on the cards. Oh my God, what way to start the show off. Tired. I just hope we're all doing very well today. So where are we going to start first? So do I think Onana will go to Saudi? Scott, I think that Onana, I think it's on the cards. I mean, we've got 4 keepers. So I wanted to start off. I've got some stats. Now I'm doing the vertical format because it seems to work really well for the channel at the moment. Obviously, I've got all the facilities to do kind of normal, bigger content, but I can only do it obviously if we get the views. So, Repost Hub, hello sir. Where are you from? Hello sir. I hope you're doing really well. Obviously, if you are in the chat, don't forget to give us a like, favorite, and subscribe. Tap that screen, give us a like. Just get in there. Really appreciated. Also, Cunha walking outside Carrington 2 days ago. Snoopy CS. He's injured. His injury is not as serious as we all guessed. Need him for the City game. I agree. Cunha, I think is a player that we need. So we went through the list yesterday. Where are we? Scott says, could he go to Turkey? Possibly. I think Saudi's probably more likely. I think Turkey have got all their keepers in. As somebody mentioned yesterday about how there's a transfer between Turkish teams and they've broken their record for a goalkeeper. Now, I've just had a notification that another channel, obviously the biggest one, has just come out and basically saying that Onana transfer is unlikely. I mean, 4 goalkeepers, for me, if you logically think about this, 4 goalkeepers do not go into 3 spaces. It's as simple as that. I can come on to that. I do have some stats on screen. Subslice says not Turkey. Repost Hub says, God bless you, sir. God bless you as well, my friend. Hope you have a really good week. TUS, exactly, Scott. I'll give you my opinion. Christopher Kelvin says, hello, my friend. What I'm going to say is on the TUS, go and pinch some of them. Go and tell them to come here. He's got enough subscribers. He doesn't need any more. Tell them to come here if you want more of a logical, unbiased. I as I say, I'm not a dictator of the chat. I let you guys lead it. I will lead with some stuff, but will also read your chat as well. Oh, just be pre-warned. I'm yawning away. So unprofessional. But yeah, I'm not going to apologise for being tired today. Bobby, legend of the chat. Hello, my friend. One of the mods, like Scott. Good morning. One thing I will say, if you do get into this chat, he gets between 15 and 20k in his chat every live. I know he does. He doesn't need all them. He doesn't need all them. He's got loads. He doesn't need all them. Just give us a 1,000. Give us 500. I think he's selfish. I think he nicks. No, I'm kidding. He does a phenomenal job. Yeah. I mean, just give us 10% of that, mate. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have a little look at the goalkeeper. So apparently Onana may go, he may stay. In out, shake it all about. Who knows? Who knows what Onana will do? I think logically, one of the keepers has to go. We've got 4 keepers now. Logically for me, one of them has to go. You can't have 4 keepers, a first choice keeper. Now, we spoke about this last night, and I'll tell you some stories if you don't know about Onana, and I don't get why it's come out now. So my opinion on Onana, please get your opinions in on him as well, is that ultimately I don't know why this has come out. I don't know if this is from the club. I don't know why it's come out now. What I don't like is that players who are vilified, right? Onana, he's done nothing wrong in terms of it's not his fault. He's got a contract. We gave him the contract. He's just doing what his contract says, right? Whether or not he's a good keeper, he's clearly a character. I do not believe in even though the likes of a Garnacho, Sancho, as much as I don't rate them as players and as much as they can get out of the club as people, the abuse, I do not agree with that. So I don't understand why this has come out. So apparently last season, Onana at the beginning of the previous season, after costing us, Champions League, and apparently Onana came in and demanded dead wrong high from the Ukraine. Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing really well today. Ukraine, of course, we stand with you, my friend. So Onana apparently last season came in and wanted a pay rise because obviously not being in the Champions League means that you lose 25%. Obviously, I think he was ill advised on that one. And I get it. He doesn't want to lose 25%. Nobody does. Right. So I get that completely. Right. So he's come in and that's come out. Now I don't know why that's come out. I'm not the biggest fan of these leaks. Right. I do believe that a football club should be keeping things in-house. Ultimately he's going to damage his career within the club. And I'm of this opinion that maybe this stuff comes out after they've stopped playing. I'm not a fan of all these players coming out, all this news coming out about players. And then apparently he's come back in this season injured, and he got injured by apparently going back to Cameroon, which is his right to do. They should have lost more with the performance. I agree with you, Scott. So they were playing. So apparently he was playing on a dirt pitch, and he injured himself because, of course, pitches there, a country, and I don't want to speak out of turn here, but a country where they're poorer. Obviously, their facilities are not the best, and what probably won't be said about him is that I'm sure he goes back to his country, and I'm sure he gives away a lot of money and does all that stuff. But that doesn't get mentioned because obviously people don't click on that one, right? And he's injured himself. Now let's take away the personal stuff. Let's take away the performance stuff, and he's come back injured. So he's come back injured, and Amorim and the club, and he's asked for a pay rise. Are you streaming on a brick or gift gaff? I'm streaming on a brick. I'm doing the vertical feed basically because that's what works best. I mean, on gift gaff. So if you guys will want to see more stuff on proper camera and 8K, I can happily do it. But I just need the views. Anyway, so I've got some stats. So that's the kind of outlay on Onana. I don't agree that this has come out. So 4 keepers get on EE or Vodafone. Yeah, I don't see how I don't see how streaming on that is gonna impact the quality of the stream. YouTube dictates the quality of the stream, but I appreciate it. I do appreciate the advice. O2 are the best, but it's not my provider. It is the bloody Wi-Fi. It is shockingly bad. Codex, Liverpool, thoughts on Isak? Well, my thoughts on Isak, I'll give you my thoughts before I go into the Onana stuff and Emi Martinez stuff and Lament stuff. So my thoughts are on him. Chief Welbeck. I think you'd be surprised. I think you'd be surprised about Welbeck. You can't compete more than my friend. Isak for 125 million. Now, all I'm going to say on this one is that he's obviously a good player. There is no question of that. My worry for Liverpool fans. Now, where I stand with Liverpool is obviously we are a rival. We do get some amazing Liverpool fans on here. The one thing that I will say between the two clubs, I think we were rivals, but rivals I think mean a lot of respect. So whatever I say comes from respect, right? Isak to me 125 mil I think is overpriced. Now why I say that is because Mbeumo was 70 million, 6 goals less than him, and is Isak twice the player than Mbeumo? I'd argue not, but you guys can argue that. Now Isak is consistent. Do I think he's ready to explode with goals this year? Possibly. If he does that, but for me, Isak needs to be getting you Champions League for 125 million. He needs to be getting you 30 goals a season. Now, some people may say, it is very, very rare these days that people get you 30 goals a season. I'm sorry, 125 mil. Isak needs to be the league's best striker. He could be. My worry for Liverpool is what he's done to Newcastle, he'll do to you as well. Players like that, they rarely. Now it could be wrong because Salah, etc. When players go to Liverpool, they tend to stay there. So potentially, just my worry really is two things. That number one, will you get the return on the £125 million? That's to be seen. And then will he stay? Now, if Real Madrid come calling, will he go? So bearing in mind he come from La Liga, I think Real Sociedad, I think he's going to want to go back. So all I'm saying is just be prepared. In the future, he may do the same to you. But good signing. Ekitike, I think, has probably been the better of Gyökeres and Šeško, but Šeško hasn't really played. So I think you've got two great strikers there, mate. So, you know, the league's done. The league's done already. J Red says, did I see the Welbeck name or did I read that wrong? No, he's in there. Isak is a great player, but injury prone. So let's switch over to Welbeck. So apparently from reports today that United are seriously considering a bid for 34-year-old Welbeck. It's a no from me. I'm just going to say that straight off the bat. I'm not going to mess around. I'm not going to piss around on that one. You know, I do think we need a more experienced striker. I really do. I really do. So I'm not adverse to Šeško and another. I do think we're light on strikers. So as I've said, you know, I don't mind if we dip into the free market and get another striker. So for me, that sort of striker that I'd probably look for would have been a Cavani. I think Cavani would be perfect. I think that the next striker, the sort of experienced striker that we could get, I think needs to come in on the proviso that he needs to, you know, to help Obi. You know, his role is not only to get into the team, but also to help and train these young players. Welbeck is not that for me. I'm sorry. I've got some of his stats up now. When you're looking at Welbeck, obviously you need to think about, you know, he needs to provide the value. If you look at all of his stats, and I'm talking about his biggest attribute, is probably why they want him, is link-up play. So pass completion is 99 out of 100. So he's one of the best players for passing the ball around. Codex says, I think it's overpriced, but when you wang firepower, you have to overspend. Yeah, and he's a Premier League player as well. Premier League proven player, striker. I still think 125 million is far too much. It's like he's a beast and probably win the Premier League. I agree, he is overpriced. Chekar says Manchester United is like a dustbin. They let their players to go and sign all the garbage. I disagree with that. My friend. Cunha. So if you watched the show last night, and I went through some of the stats of Cunha and Mbeumo, they're the in one of the top. They're both, one is top 3, one is top 4. They're both in the top 4 players of last season according to Opta. In terms of their stats, they are 2 of the best in the league outside of Salah and Isak. So I disagree with that completely. Šeško as well is one of the up and coming. If you look at his ratio of goals to games, it's better than Gyökeres for his age. Obviously, Gyökeres is older. He's one of the better in the Premier League. Obviously, he does have to prove it, but I disagree with that. Completely disagree. Dorgu is, I think he's going to be a fantastic player. So, you know, previously I would agree with that statement, but not right now. I think we are trying to do some good stuff. Now, Chekar, if you don't know what's wrong with this club, then you're clearly not a United supporter. What's wrong with this club is the ownership and the debt. When you're £1 billion in debt, have to service that debt, have to pay payments to the owners every single year. They've never put a penny of their own money in and wasted £1 billion, £1.5 billion of our own cash. Simply, that is what's wrong with this club. Kodak says he adds 20 goals a season. That's a good return. Title winning with what we have already. If again, right, it's not 125 million pounds up front, is it? So if I don't know how much you're going to be paying a season. It might be 30. If you make 200 million a season, is worth. Liverpool are spending what they've earned. So Isak again, 20 goals a season, winning the league. If you're in the league for the next 2-3 years, it's worth it. But it's really difficult. It's really difficult to project what he might do. So based on previous, is he worth the money? I still think it's overpriced, but you could argue that you need to pay the extra, right? Because you've taken him from a rival. Newcastle are going to lose him. You've overpaid. He's cost more money because of who he is and where you've taken him from. So that was the price. Have you overpaid? Of course you have. It is ridiculous sums of money, but you have to pay that. So in essence, have you overpaid? Yes, but in another sense, no. But I think he's gonna be absolutely fine. So I don't think you've got any issues at all there. You've won the title. It's as simple as that. Chaka says, I support Chelsea, but I respect Liverpool. Why don't you respect? The bit I don't get is Liverpool you respect. I get that. But why don't you respect our club? I mean, I pretty much try to respect all clubs and all fans. What you'll get here, you're not going to get me screaming and shouting, hollering about other clubs. It doesn't matter. Your business is your business. I don't know your club, so I'm not going to comment on your club. Certainly don't help. I don't necessarily agree with all the things that Chelsea do, but I respect what it is they do. They go and get their business done. I admire that. I really do. Every club does some things right, other than one club. There's only one club that I have no respect for, and probably you can guess who that is. City. But again, I don't dislike their fans. Their fans are the fans, but City for me are just one club that I have no respect for. I have respect for fans. I think ultimately you've got to have respect for fans. City for me, no respect there whatsoever. You can't compete. Strikers are only as good as the support behind them, just as the keeper is as good as the defence. I agree. Liverpool have strength everywhere. Even the likes of a Gakpo, you look how much he's improved. McAllister. I mean, I'm not gonna go too much on there because I'm sure there are other Liverpool outlets, but they are a great team. Why are you buying Welbeck back? Would you get back within Hex? No. Kodak, exactly. I'll go through some of his stats quickly. Now, I do think, so the reason why I think we are going to go back, not necessarily him, but there are rumours that we are, is that we need another experienced striker. Now, Vardy's gone. I don't know who else is out there. Vardy's gone. Wilson's gone. Now, if you are looking at Welbeck, the reason why it's a no from me. So pass completion 99. So 83%. We're one of the best strikers in the league for pass completion. Tackles, again, he's up there. 76, so up there, and blocks. This is where it gets interesting. He's terrible in the air. He's basically 10%, so basically that's awful. 0.62 aerial duels won in the air. Progressive passes, again, one of the worst in the league. Progressive carries, one of the worst in the league. Expected assisted goals, one of the worst in the league. Shot creating actions, one of the worst in the league. Just all round, just not even the type of striker that I think Vardy would have been better than him. So we're clearly looking at the striker market now. Looking at Morata, for example, even he has, so passes attempted, one of the better players, pass completion, one of the better players, tackles, one of the better players, interceptions, blocks. So I'd rather a Morata rather than a Welbeck. So I don't know how true this is. This is coming out this morning, so don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. Maybe we're looking at him as an English quota player. I don't know. It's a no from me. Let me know who you would go. So I think we're going to go experienced strikers, but let me know in the chat who you would go for. I think it's a really interesting debate. I think we are going to go for a cheap free striker. Danny Welbeck, it's an absolute no for me. Mbumo, I'm better than Mbumo. No, you're not. Do you realise how good he was last season? 20 goals and 6 assists. Do you realise how good that is? He's 6 goals behind Isak, who's an out-and-out striker. His stats are up there with the best players in the league. He's number 1 in quite a lot of stats, like progressive carries, shots as well. The percentage of shots on goal, percentage of shots scored as well. You're talking at your butt. I'm sorry, you're talking at your... You clearly don't know this player. You clearly don't watch this player. If you look at the stats, you clearly don't watch. Your club buys more deadwood than a wood chip factory and bench warmers. Chief Vardy. Vardy's gone, hasn't he, to Rome in Italy. So, I mean, Vardy ain't going to go anywhere. English people are crazy. I think that's a generalist term. I'm very logical, to be honest with you. I wouldn't say that I'm crazy. I wouldn't say people on this chat are crazy. I think we are logical. I think that you don't watch much football, to be honest with you. I think you're one of these play FC potentially players. I get you support your club, but I think it's really important that you look at other clubs, you see what they do, and then have a comparison to your club. And I think it's really interesting as well to talk to other fans of different clubs. You get their opinion in your club, you have their opinion. But one of the things I do is all about respect. And if you don't respect this chat, and I mean there are Liverpool fans in here as well, if you don't respect those, this channel is about respect. Please feel free to leave. Nakaru, oh God, I'm so bad. Nikarutsu, United really blew it in the transfer window. I don't disagree with that. I think we had an opportunity to do something good. The money wasn't there. I think what's transpired is that the money wasn't there, and this is all coming out now, isn't it? We're finding out things about Onana, this credit facility talk. Now, what we got to understand is there was lots of spin. We were spun a window from end to end. They planned it. It was all planned. Belieber was a smokescreen. What they wanted to do was sign players not too early, so they can. You think about the money that was saved and the money that we brought into this club. Where's it all gone? I know where it's all gone, but where's that money gone? Nobody's questioning that. The media should be questioning this. The media should be doing their effing job and asking this club where the money has gone from the sales. Where is the money gone saved on wages? And I know we spent 200 million, but we needed more. And that's not greed. There are other clubs out there who can say that they wish they had that money to spend. But we're in a different league. We're a different club, and we need to catch up. This is football, and until we do that, and we are a serious club. We are where we are. Are you trying to troll? Exactly, Bobby. No need to troll. I think you do. I mean, clearly, I think you're a bit of a prat. I am respectful to people in this chat, but when you're not respectful back to this chat, I will call you out. And I think you are a troll, and I think you're a bit of a prat who needs to watch football. You clearly have no knowledge other than your club, and you clearly don't watch football. So, I bet he lives under a bridge as well as being a Chelsea fan. Clearly, every time I watch United games, I don't need to watch comedy shows. You do know you support Chelsea, right? And I'm talking about the team. I'm not talking about the fans. I'm not talking about the fans. One of the most inconsistent, who buy all these players. You do know over the last 2-3 seasons, you've spent £2 billion or like £1.5 billion in 2-3 seasons. And what have you got to show for it? A Club World Cup. A meaningless tournament. Have you won a league? No. Champions League? No. You spent all this money. So there's a phrase: if you're in a glass house, don't throw stones. I support Chelsea, but I support Liverpool. What a beta statement from a small club. Yeah. Codex says, I would never wish harm on rivals, but Newcastle fans are calling Isak a rat and saying they hope he gets injured. Codex, again, it's bitter, isn't it? I mean, I don't wish injury on any player at all. I don't. Even if some of our players, what they've done to this club, I don't necessarily like them in terms of their attitude towards football. I don't know them as people, and they protest to be, normal people, fans of their club. Now, how can you wish injury on a player? At the end of the day, it's his career. It's not like you didn't get money for him. It's not like you didn't get £125 million for a player. You need the money. As well, there's no way that Newcastle would have sold that player if they didn't need the money. So I don't think it's right. I don't think it's right at all. Exactly. Onana has gone. United is back. He's not gone yet. But I am hoping that he goes. Obi says, could it be the goalkeeper coach is poor? No. Why are both Onana and Binder that bad? Yes, they have goalkeeping coach. I'm afraid Lamens will be worse from bad if this. Disagree, Obu. Disagree, my friend. Valid opinion, and just because I disagree doesn't mean your opinion is wrong, by the way. I disagree. Onana, if you look at how he plays, his positioning, that's not a goalkeeper coach. Onana is 29 years old. These two keepers are bad keepers. They're not good. You can tell by the way they move their bodies. You can tell by the way that, there is no way that Onana is being coached to do that. 100% not being coached. It's not the coach. Again, this fan base is very good at blaming people. The blame game is it must be the coach. It must be the manager. It couldn't possibly be the players. When are we going to learn? It's the players. How many times are these players going to let us down? You look at the season where Onana came. He was barely coached, and yet he messed up Champions League. That's nothing to do with coaching. You can't coach that, just like Amrin can't coach these players. You can't coach players to be world class. You can't coach world class into a player. You can coach good habits. You can teach them different things, but you can't coach world class. Zidane didn't need to be taught to be world class. He just had it. Xavi, natural talent. Messi, no one coached Messi to be Messi. They coached him in probably positioning and how you play football in a team, but you can't coach Messi. Messi is a gift. So all these world-class players, yes, they do need a coach to begin with, but you don't coach them in that way. And Onana is just awful. I just finished. They need to go back to Division 1 and come again. What are you talking about? You are honestly, absolute prat. The men's will be world class. So let's touch on that. So if we're going to look at goalkeeper stats, I've got some keeper stats here. So Martinez, who a lot of people are screaming for now, if you're looking at goals against, he is up there, 69 compared to some of the other keepers is okay. He roughly concedes about 1.19 goals per game. His save percentage is 72%. Penalty kicks saved 50%, so he's up there on that. Clean sheet percentage 29.5, 59, so that's about average. Touches 76, he's up there. Crosses stopped, so he's very good on. So if you're looking at an all-round keeper, his launches and goal kicks are not particularly great either, and the length of kicks are okay. So if you're looking for I don't think he's this amazing keeper that everyone is saying, but he is Premier League proven. I think he would come in and he'd go straight into goal and he'd be a perfectly fine keeper. Now, if you look at Onana stats, and there are people saying that Onana's stats are better than Emi Martinez. No, they're not. Goals against 1.3, so one of the average in the league. Save percentage 72.2, which is 49, which is not great. Penalty kicks saved 14.3%. Martinez is 50, his is 14.3%. It's not great. Clean sheet percentage 22.7%, 14, not very good. Touches 38.26. Launches 30.71%, not great. Goal kicks, one of the worst in the league, 4.41. Average length of kicks is up there, 47.9 yards. Crosses stopped. So I need you to bear this in mind, okay? Martinez's crosses stopped is 11.4%, which is 95 percentile. Onana's is 5.4. He stops half of the crosses of Martinez. Defensive actions outside the box, but average. Now, Le Mans. Let's look at Le Mans. So, goals against 1.1. Now, bearing in mind this is the Belgian league, so penalties saved 80%. Now, penalties, it doesn't matter what league you're in. A penalty is a penalty, 80%. So he's nearly double. Well, he's 30% more than Emi Martinez. And so in terms of penalty stops, he's good. Now, touches again up there, 89. And this is where it gets interesting. Crosses stopped, 99. He's in the 99th percentile for crosses stopped because he's 6'4". So, Emi Martinez, you can argue, Premier League proven. His stats, all round stats, are very, very good. So there is an argument that he's a good keeper. Is Martinez world class? No. Would I put him in the top 5 keepers in the world? No. But he's still a good keeper. So those of you who want him, I agree, he would have gone straight in. But Le Mans' stats already at 23, 24 years old are perfect. So I think we're absolutely fine. Bobby says it's called the Championship or League One if you want to go lower. Exactly. RR7G says, hello, my friend. Scott, do Chelsea have a live where you can go and forget you're just a little club? The problem with this basic structure, they need to change everything. Chakar, mate, honestly, I'd give it up, mate. I really would give it up. So Jelson says, welcome Tanzania. Welcome here. Again, we are becoming global on here as well. Chelsea's going to win the Champions League this year. Mark my words. I love fans who are deluded. Chelsea are not going to win anything this year. Simple as that. Chief Herb, Shaka, I respect 99-year contracts, and I love to hear and live to have a Death Star as my team bus. You're winning. Exactly. Codex says, a great debate. I would subscribe, but you're United in name, so I can't. Mate, no problem at all. You are welcome here, even if you don't subscribe. Okay. It's always nice to subscribe, but you are welcome here anyway. Doesn't matter. I'm not one of these channels who are going to be begging for subscriptions. It's always nice. It really does help the channel out, helps us grow. But ultimately, the number one factor for me is debate on here, get people on here who want to be here. You are welcome. You don't need to subscribe. Would be nice, but that's all good. RR7G, I like Arsenal, but I hate their fans. I mean, I don't hate. There are some Arsenal fans, and what I'm going to say this is that Arsenal, I don't dislike their fans at all. I know some Arsenal fans who are funny. I like them. I think they're very, very frustrated. What I don't like, I don't know them as people, but I have watched them, is I don't like some of the YouTube content that they create. I think is very, very, very toxic. I think is very, very much, they're very, very toxic. I get it. They are frustrated. They want to win a league. They've not won a league in 20 years. I get it, but again, the fans, are frustrated. I get that. It's always Arteta out. They were moaning that they lost to Liverpool. I get it. I do get it. But Liverpool, I know Arsenal want to win the league. I get it, but it's really, really hard to do. I'd love to be in Arsenal's position. I do agree. Some of our fans are absolutely crazy as well. You look at Chelsea fans. One Chelsea fan in particular on here, total twat. But most Chelsea fans, Spurs fans, Liverpool fans that come on here are really good people. So you do get the sort of odd one. Joseph says, I'm a Liverpool fan from Tanzania, and we are going to win EPL this season. Joseph, I wouldn't disagree with that, my friend. Liverpool fans, welcome here. As always, I think that our community does things right. We do talk about this club. The primary focus is on this club. But again, happy to divert some conversations. I think you're going to win the league. Champions League is a different story. I think Madrid will go again. I think that Barcelona, I don't think they will. PSG, Liverpool is certainly going to be one of the favourites as well. You spent £500 million. Talk about net spend, I get that, but the facts are you spent £500 million on players. You should be winning the league and the Champions League. It doesn't work in that way, but I watch you this season. I don't disagree. Obi says every set piece coach is poor enough not to improve the boys. Bienda concedes a goal against Tottenham through a corner kick, and he conceded the same against us. Yeah, he's very, very bad at crossing. It is what it is. He's a tall guy. He panics. You can't teach mentality. You can't teach certain things to players. That's just the fact of life. You can coach, but unless you are natural, for example, right? You can't coach speed, right? I was very, very, very fast, but not very good at the football IQ side, right? not saying because I'm thick, but I just, in my mind, I could only play in one way, right? And you can't coach that. I could never have been coached to be like a midfield player. I was always basically a sprint, really, really quick player, have a shot. That was me, right? Nowhere near a Premier League standard, but you can't coach that. You know, you look at players over the years, really, really poor players who've managed to get into the Premier League. They have to be good at something. But I think this rhetoric and this idea about coaches are able to turn players into these world-class stars. If that was true, you know, every player would be a world-class player. But that's why there's levels. That is why there are levels. I've heard that Trent isn't happy at Madrid. I wouldn't take him back at Liverpool. Look forward, not backwards. Codex, yes, he's not happy. I think a lot of that is, I think he misses the club. It always takes people time to settle. They always say, give it a year. Give it a year. And I think he'll come good. But as I always say to my children, as I always say to people, the grass isn't greener on the other side, and be careful what you wish for. I admire the fact that he wanted to go to another club in terms of wanting to go on an adventure. But why would you want to leave Liverpool? You know, why would you want to leave that football club? I get you want to leave the city because you want to go somewhere warm. I get that, right? But why would you want to leave that boyhood club of yours? I mean, the things he's done there, I get it. But I don't know why he wanted to do and leave in the way that he did and destroy his connection with the fans. I don't know why you went with a Dutch keeper over Emi Martinez. Kurt, I think that's a very, very valid opinion. I think he's younger. His stats are not awful. You know, I think we're signing the next potential world class keeper. Whether he goes on to achieve that, that's another story. Obviously, he's not Dutch, but I think I understand why we've done it. But the Glazers like young. I mean, there was always a song about Arsene Wenger and his bag of sweets, right? Sir Jim likes them young. Sir Jim, likes these young guys. You could argue that there's a song about him as well. Chief Herb, he's Belgian, exactly. Nakarutsu says, I still struggle to understand how we went from having a chance to sign. So, actually, that's a very, 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 very good question. So, right. So I've got the wages here of keepers. Okay, so Donnarumma is on 200k a week. That's why we've not signed him. Alisson is on 150k a week. Trafford is on 48,500, and Onana is currently on £120,000. So I think that Lamend is on 70,000 a week. So we couldn't sign a goalkeeper for 200,000. City can because they cook the books. City can do it because that's what they do. They've got money coming out of their ears. They cook their books, and that's why. So the reason why we didn't go for him, and Martinez probably would have wanted 150k as well. So I get it. Martinez, in my opinion, I think there's a misconception on the Martinez deal. Yes, he could go straight into this team. Yes, he's an all-round good keeper, but he's not one of the world's best keepers. That's my opinion. Your opinion may be different on that. Martinez would definitely be one for the next 2-3 years. But when there's an opportunity to get probably one of the best young keepers in the world, I think you've got to take it. And I think we've done the right thing. If he doesn't start till Christmas, as the rumour is, then, at this point, I take Andy Carroll. Obi says, how much time does a goalkeeper coach need to correct goalkeeper errors? Maybe somewhere the keepers are the ones who take long-term understanding their instructor, or not at all. As I say, goalkeeper is more about aura and is more about mentality. No disrespect to goalkeepers. It's one of the easiest positions on the pitch, right? If your team do it correct, a goalkeeper shouldn't be called into action at all. Okay, it's not complex to be a goalkeeper. It's not. You've got to save your shots. Positioning wise, the most difficult thing that they've got to do is position their bodies, be able to get down. Yes, you can play with your feet. A goalkeeper coach is there to critique and is there to say, look, this, your positioning wise, you need to be X, Y, and Z. But agility and ability and mentality can't be coached. You can't coach it. These are things, physical attributes can't be coached. What can be coached is positioning, how to maybe move your hands. But Onana's nearly 30. You can't coach him. He's uncoachable. His mentality is all wrong. He's fragile. He's just not it. He's just not it. Niche fan, Onana to Saudi. I hope so. Justice says hello. Hello, my friend. Idio says hello. Should have kept Rasmus. Disagree. Rasmus was mentally gone. Rasmus was mentally gone. I disagree. I respect the opinion. Just because I say I disagree, that's not the end of the conversation. That is just me giving you my opinion. I get it. I do get it. If we could have had two strikers, fantastic. But it was just never going to work. And for me, Rasmus deserved the opportunity to be a number one striker. We can't have two number one strikers, particularly when Rasmus cost us 64 million. He wasn't going to play. I think he needed to leave for his own sake. One of the players that needed to leave. So for me, I'm glad he's gone. For him, I'm pretty sad about it. I'm not going to lie. I'm gutted for him. But I hope he can do extremely well. Please, no trolling in the chat. Thank you, Nish fan. Family E Gaming. United was so bad this season, they'll end up being 15th. Family E Gaming. You do know we're 9th. You do know we've got 4 points. You do know we're in front of City. You do know we're Newcastle have got a point. You do know Aston Villa have got a point. We're 2 points behind Arsenal, 2 points behind Liverpool, 2 points behind Chelsea. What are you talking about? I respect opinion on here, but I am going to not come back at you, but I am going to give my opinion on that. What are you talking about? We've got 4 points. We've not played great, but Liverpool haven't played great. The difference is Liverpool have match winners in their team. Arsenal haven't played great. Arsenal for half an hour were terrible against Leeds until Leeds basically... Let me give you an example, and this is not a dig at Arsenal or their fans, but factually, Arsenal against us were awful. One of the worst I've ever seen them play. Half an hour against Leeds, they didn't have a clue. All right. The reason why they won that match was because Leeds basically had no clue, no ideas, bent over and let Arsenal tickle their tummies. Right. Second half display, better. They went to Anfield and were okay. What are you talking about? I'm not going to disagree that we're not going to have a great season, but we're not 15th. We've got 4 points. Like, we are there or thereabouts. We're only 2 points behind Arsenal. We're a point ahead of City, who spent a load of money. What are you talking about? I just don't get it. It's such an easy, and I don't know if that's banter, but you need to come up with a logical view. Come and tell me why. So aren't City going to have a bad season. They lost to Brighton. They've not been particularly good. They lost to Spurs. We've had one loss against a title contender. City have lost to Spurs, who are not going to win the league, and to Brighton. What are you talking about? I don't get it. I really don't get it. Thank you, Scott. Akatek says, but Chelsea also won 1 billion just this season, mate. And Chelsea won 1 billion. No, they didn't. Chelsea haven't won £1 billion. What are you talking about? Chelsea haven't won £1 billion. If you're talking about £1 billion in player sales, Chelsea haven't won £1 billion. They really. So what you're saying is Chelsea have won a third of the value of their club. They really haven't. They haven't. Cunha and Mbermo, Idi didn't play a single minute with Rasmus. Shesko looks like a striker, like a Vigor striker. Net improvement. Idi, mate, I disagree, and you're quoting. I know you're quoting because I've seen it. You're just quoting Weghorst. You're just quoting some of these Wallies on X and some of the things that I've seen, mate. That's not your own idea. I've seen it. He's nothing like Weghorst. Okay, that's a really, really poor take, and I've seen it from some absolute cretins on X. Please don't be like them. Please don't copy them because they haven't got a clue. I don't mind a Chelsea fan with their one-liner chant, but I hate the ones who lack manners. Exactly that. Exactly. Exactly. That's what United have done. Chelsea are sugar daddy club, irrelevant pre Abramovich. Architect says, as a Barcelona fan, I would gladly prefer winning or being at the Club World Cup than the Champions League. Disagree completely. The Club World Cup means Ethel. You can spin it, or you can spin the Club World Cup, or you like the Club World Cup is about money and sponsors. There is no prestige in it. You know, they've scrubbed all the previous winners of the Club World Cup. I mean, what does that say? It is just pathetic. It is, and I'm not calling you pathetic, but not for me. This Club World Cup nonsense needs to stop. Shesko is going to be a goal machine. Agree with you completely. When he gets the service, he'll bang goals for fun. I agree, Scott. Paul Edwards, you need to replace the manager. Paul Edwards, I disagree. We need to replace players. I mean, if you can tell me, Paul, why. I mean, on here, as I'll say, I'm not giving you my opinion, and that's the end of the conversation. Give me your reasons why you think that. I'll happily debate that. I'll happily read out the comment. I need more than that. I need more than we need to replace the manager. Why? Is my question. Messi